Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 19th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully this episode finds you in a good space, in a good place, whether you're listening to it on a Friday or a Tuesday. It doesn't matter. Hopefully you're feeling very Friday. Things are very positive. Good for you. For me, it's been good. It's been such a good day. Honestly, the energy all-time high, like, dare I say. But no, we got up on time, nice timely fashion. We got up. I was worried I was going to be a little late to work, but I actually got there right on time. We love to see it. And proceeded to go over to my department yet again, as what I want to do. And they were just changing out the cardboard crusher. So I was like, all right, let's go. We're in good shape. And not to mention, it didn't look crazy for the day. Like, there was not a crazy amount of buggies, as it kind of has been throughout the week. Like, it's been pretty low. You know, like I said, we've been busy throughout the whole day. We've been filling up the crusher, sure. But it just hasn't been, like, aggressive. And I'm kind of starting to get the feeling, I'm like, we're slowing down. Like, we are finally at the place I expected us to be, like, a week or so before Christmas, which is like the end. So it was nice. And I'm like, maybe I'm being a little, this is a little premeditated, I'm counting my chickens before they hatch. I don't know. But I was like, let's just get through the day and see what happens, right? And I pound through all the buggies, and then there's some skids, and I'm like, all right, let's. I munch those down, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing good. Trash is good, like, cardboard's good, everything is good. Like, I love to see it. And one of the random supervisors was going by, and they said, yeah, it's looking really good. It's looking nice. And I'm like, yeah, it's nice that we're getting back on track. And he stopped, and he goes, but I got some bad news for you. And I cut him off, and I said, oh, you're probably about to tell me about the 50 skids that are up in the rafters. I know about those. It's okay. And he goes, okay, someone already told you. Because I did. I'd heard about that the other day. But that's also common with this time of the year. So, like, once we're at the tail end of peak, we kind of just move to a big old cleanup phase. It usually takes maybe about a week and a half, where it's like, okay, they have some kind of extra pickup scheduled, and they do like a whole run, or they have like an open pickup thing, and they dump it all into that one. Either way, we will get it done. So I'm not really worried about that. It's about the pace of the work finally slowing down, which also lines up with the fact that it's just like the end of the year. Like, a lot of companies are kind of shutting down, gone fishing, whatever, vacation, it's Christmas time, so the sales are gonna kind of flatline after you've kind of made your Christmas holiday deal sale, whatever the fuck. So this is all very, on the level. Everyone's kind of getting their gifts going for the weekend. They might not come back until, the week after Christmas, or maybe I might not see some of my coworkers until like January, which by all means, if you got the PTO for that, go for it. But yeah, no, the vibes were good at work. We still, like I said, we filled up the crusher, despite the fact that it was still slower. But yeah, the vibes are good. 2 thumbs up from work. So we took that energy, and we headed out to the gym, the old Planet Fitness, actually White Monster in hand. So, I was ready to be on some demon time, cause it's heavy lifting, day. I'm trying to get into that for the whole weekend, So I was ready to get it. And get it we did. I think, to my memory, I hit 4 PRs. So clap it up for that. Let's go. At least 4. So I moved another, I believe, 10 pounds, or I added another 5 pounds or so onto my bench press. Now, granted, y'all know I'm not doing that to like the maximum range of motion or whatever, but the aspect of adding to my bench and then not being crushed by it is always what I'm looking for when it comes to that. That is a check. Love it. Let's go. I added on to my incline. I added on to, yeah, it's actually more than 4 now I'm thinking about it, I think. there's just like this warm up routine that I like to do on the Smith machine where I do like some bicep curls, I do an overhead press, and I do what I think they're called Hello Good Mornings or whatever they are, where you do like, you bend your back with the barbell over you, and then you're up and down. I do that about 6 times. Normally I do under 45 like pounds, like or under 45 on each plate, each side, whatever, because I don't want to hurt myself. One of my coworkers told me a story of how they fucked up their back doing those, like with like actual weight. And I'm like, yeah, no, I never want to do that. These are just to like, warm me up, kind of activate the body. But over the summer, I've been doing increases to that. And I had this like fantasy in my head that like one day I will get to like 45 plates. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? No more fantasy bullshit. We're doing that today. And I did it. And I was so hyped. I was like, oh my God, I can move this. So I felt really good there. Then we moved to the deadlift, which I wasn't supposed to do any more increases until next year, until January. And I was just so eager. I was just so hopped up. And let me cut myself off, do a little aside here. I think where this came from was last night I was watching like the Trend Twins. I was watching like some workout videos and stuff. And it was just kind of getting me into the mode. And I was like, I haven't gone hard at the gym in a while like that. And like, why else am I training so heavy throughout the week? Like, what is this all for? And I'm like, it's for tomorrow. And I'm like, no, don't hurt yourself. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, so here I am deadlifting, my new PR, and I hit it. Now I don't hit it for like major numbers. I think I get in like 2 reps, and I was like, that's good. We love to see it. So yeah, I'm at now I can deadlift 355. It's so cool. It's so weird to say because that means I'm like 50 pounds away from my ultimate goal of 405. So I'm in great positioning to clear that for next year. I'm very hyped. I'm very excited for that. Post the Smith machine, moved over to free weights, and I finally completed my challenge that I set for myself. Once again, this was not something I was supposed to complete until like the top of next year, Q1. I said, fuck it. We're going to go to 75, which at my gym is like the full, dumbbell weight that I can, get. That's as big as I get, unfortunately, tier. But like at the top of summer, that was something that I could only do half of my routine on. Like I could only do so many movements with that. It was just too hard to like do like certain overhead presses. I was too scared to do an incline press because I just didn't think I could handle the weight. So I was like, we'll just do flat bench, a couple other things and that'll be enough. But I said, nope, we're doing everything from bicep curls to, the incline. We're getting it in. And even the RDLs. And we did it. I was able to do it. It was a struggle. I was huffing, I was puffing, but we did it. And I was so hyped. I was like, I just felt so powerful. And then I think I had one more PR that I hit, which was just a random one. I did a full stack on my shoulder raises or lateral raises, right? So that felt good as well. So just a lot of flexing. On top of that, I got through my whole routine. I will say though, on my cardio, I was moving a bit slower. I'm blaming it on the shoes. The New Balances I got, I love them. They are, the all black, they're leather, they're like work shoes in a way. So like they're non-slip and all that. So that's great. Super good, especially when it rains at my job and I'm getting literally rained on in the dumpster. That's key. That's clutch. But they're like big and clunky. And I tried tying them a little bit tighter and that helped, but they still just feel weird to like run in. So I don't really like that. But overall, like outside of the treadmill being more of a walk thing than a running thing, good workout, good cardio. So honestly, one of my better gym sessions of the year, surprisingly. I didn't expect to like have one good one in me. You know what I mean? Like it just took me back to like last year when I was like just ravenous to like get stronger and like push myself. Like, I don't know, this was nice. It felt good. So, once again, clap it up for that. Yay. I rewarded myself with a Rice Krispie treat. So yeah, and I mentioned this before. I hate when I get a thing of candy, and you take your bite out of it and it's just not it. Like, it's just the junkiest of junk. And it's like, damn it. God damn it. But I ate it. You know, I didn't curb stomp the Rice Krispie treat this time or anything like that. You know, we just swallowed it. Yummy. But yeah, no, we had a good day. You know, top to bottom. We did some research, so we got some things to cover, of course. You know, it's not just a blog. But let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. I know you're probably going to be thinking it's deja vu for the first couple stories because we are running back Epstein and you're running back the Brown University shooter, but key details. And I kind of mentioned that this was going to happen, so, you know. But I will try not to dwell too long. Oh, man. I guess I should mention the old weather. So, you know how I said it was getting warmer? Well, boom, pow, detour, it got cold as fuck today. So, like, I came in very prepared. I was layered down, but, or layered up, I should say. But, like, as I got in, I felt like I was almost, like, too layered up, even though it was, like, 30 degrees, like, a little bit less than that. But, throughout the day, I got, like, colder. And I was like, I don't think it's actually getting colder, but it just feels like it is. I don't know. So, you know, I was, like, taking off the jacket. I was putting back on the jacket. I was taking on the beanie, or taking off the beanie, putting back on the beanie. Also, it's low-key annoying as shit to, like, be layered up with a beanie and the hoodie and everything and have any kind of, like, ear piercings, you know? My industrial was, like, acting up and being fussy and annoying. I was like, man, it's little things like this that do wind up just getting to me, you know, especially over a week, over a month. You know, I'm over winter. I'm over it. Ooh. Excuse me. Oh boy. Bear with me. Bear with me, my dear listeners. We're queuing up our mojo. All right. From Reuters. U.S. Epstein files release highlights Clinton makes scant reference to Trump. The U.S. Justice Department released thousands of documents related to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Friday that made scant reference to President Donald Trump, but extensively featured Democratic former President Bill Clinton. The absence of references to Trump was noticeable given that the pictures and documents related to him have trickled out of previous Epstein releases for years. Trump's name appeared in the flight manifest listing passengers on Epstein's private plane that were part of a first batch of Epstein material the Justice Department released in February, for instance. The release was intended to comply with a law overwhelmingly passed by Congress in November that mandated the disclosure of all Epstein files, despite the Republican president's months-long effort to keep them sealed. The scandal surrounding Epstein has become a self-inflicted political wound for Trump, who for years had promoted conspiracy theories about Epstein to his supporters. Let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead here. This was like some side news that I'm glad they threw in because I was, planning on covering this, but it's like at least couched here. So at least, we had our footnote. Shortly after the release, the U.S. military launched airstrikes against dozens of Islamic State targets in Syria on Friday in retaliation for an attack on U.S. personnel. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll just sandwich this all in for Friday, I guess. We'll drop some Epstein files. We'll go ahead and attack Syria and, do our little retribution thing. We're really going to fill out the day. I love that for the Trump administration, I guess. Let's see. But let me just kind of, Isaiah mode this shit. A lot more photos dropped. There's still some overlaps and things like that. In terms of documents, they did release documents, but the problem is so much of it is redacted. Like there's certain instances where whole pages are just blacked out, so you're just not getting anything. There's just nothing to connect. It all feels like used, spent shit. It's a lot of funky fucking pictures, and I guess we're gonna just kind of get to that point now. One highlight for me was Michael fucking Jackson, dude, just like stanced up with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, okay. A good amount of Chris Tucker, which I did know about. I've seen the pictures of him on the plane and then the log and all that shit, blah, 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 whatever. But like, I don't know, man. There's just something about all of it. I mean, there's the Noam Chomsky. We mentioned that in the previous episodes. Like, all these people were, like, so casual with bro. Like, you got Woody Allen, so many motherfucking people. Like, just like, yeah, no, I'm not only down to hang out with you, bro, and just kick it with you. I vibe with you so well. I've rocked with you so hard, bro. Go ahead and just, like, flick the camera. Like, I love you, bro. Man, it's so good to see you, man. Like, I mean, be well. Like, what is happening? Like, what was happening? Everybody wants to know. I mean, there's also, there's definitely more. Like, there's videos, there's like just apparently, I think, terabytes of information. So maybe there's still more to come, but I don't know. I hope there's more because once again, this just wasn't much. It just felt like more or less what we already knew. And, with what was revealed, it's just like, yeah, you didn't fulfill the arrangement or the agreement. But also the DOJ has always had the out of saying, well, we're still investigating things since, Donald Trump wants us to like make sure that we're investigating the Democrats and all that. It's still an ongoing investigation. So there's things that we can withhold. Also we want to protect the victims. Like they just have these kind of outs that they can at least just say, and they go, okay, well, we don't have to give you this or we don't have to give you that. We don't have to release all this information. So, we find ourselves right back at the beginning. But yeah, there's definitely more photos. And I feel like, yes, you could maybe accuse me like, well, you didn't mention too much of the Clinton. You kind of just stayed focused on the whole Donald Trump thing. I guess, man. Yeah, there's Bill Gates too. I mentioned Noam Chomsky. To me, that's like the worst one. That's like the most upsetting one. Like, that's a guy you're like, okay, I'm willing to hear like what this guy has to say. He's like, definitely got some insights. And it's like, yeah, but he also liked to kick it with Jeff. And it's like, yeah. Yucky, but yeah, so there's that. I know I'm already just too long on this. Let's go ahead and segue into our next story. I wanted to talk about the shooter from the Brown University thing. I'm sorry, no, I'm not using the best verbiage, but suspect found. Let me actually start with the title from NBC News. Brown University shooting. Suspect in Brown and MIT shootings found dead as motive remains unclear. Now, this was something I read, like, once again, the quick highlights of in the previous episode, but, like, it didn't click to me until today, listening to, like, Start Here or whatever, and, like, kind of running back through the story and all that. I was like, wait, the MIT thing is a different thing. Like, another person was murdered on a different day. And I'm like, what? I just completely missed that story. I didn't hear about it until today. And apparently it's like, yeah, that was a known shooting. Yes, but law enforcement had said these are not related. And it turns out, no, they are related. It all kind of came together. But yeah, we have the name of the shooter, of the suspect. What we know about both shootings. Suspect found dead, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, 48, the suspect in a shooting at Brown University and the fatal shooting of an MIT professor days later, was found dead in New Hampshire, in a New Hampshire storage facility from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, law enforcement said. Neves Valente is suspected of killing two students at Brown and an MIT professor by the name of Nuno Lurio at his Boston area home. Officials say the two men appear to have attended the same university in Portugal. Investigators say the motive remains unclear, with no writings or messages found so far. The investigation is ongoing. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said she is pausing the diversity immigrant visa program after it was revealed Neves Valente entered the U.S. through it, which is crazy to take this moment and say, oh, well, once again, we're going to say this is all brown people are capable of doing this, so we need to act. We need to, shut this shit down. no, that's a terrible fucking thing to do. Sends a fucking terrible fucking message. But it's par for the fucking course for this administration, unfortunately. But yes, apparently, former classmates or whatever of Valente said that he was a very intelligent person, but they also marked him as like a very aggressive person as well. In terms of a motive, we still don't have that. We don't have any kind of trail. It ends at that storage facility. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is a sad, unfortunate story. It just came to a very like abrupt end. As mentioned before, I think in the previous episode, there was a whole manhunt, yes, but they think that he pretty much immediately went to the storage facility and did what he did. But at least post killing the professor. And now this is where I want to kind of put my speculation hat on. Maybe that has something to do with it. I also believe too, maybe I'm getting this detail wrong because I'm not pulling this from this article, but he went to that class at Brown University as well. So there was just all this kind of overlap for him, and he was doing something, expressing something. I do not know. I don't want to speak for him. I don't have any evidence to do so. But obviously, all the same, it is an unfortunate situation. So I wanted to just kind of come back and at least add more details. And who knows, maybe we'll be back again to, do more updates. But let's go ahead and move along. Speaking of updates, we got to log in to TikTok. We gotta do a new dance or something. Yeah, we definitely do, because I mean, it looks like TikTok's here to stay. I gotta take a quick water break though, so excuse me while I guzzle. All right. From NPR. TikTok signs deal to give U.S. operations to Oracle-led investor group. TikTok has signed a deal to spin off its U.S. operations to a group controlled by mostly American investors, including software giant Oracle, a company run by billionaire Trump ally Larry Ellison. TikTok's hyper-engaging algorithm and the massive amount of data the app has collected on millions of Americans is set to be overseen by the new U.S. firm. According to the agreement, TikTok's U.S. algorithm will be retrained with only Americans' data. Data? I want to say data today. Content moderation rules around what is permitted and what is not will be set by the new investor-controlled entity. Yet the underlying algorithm will still be owned by Beijing-based ByteDance, with the blessing of American auditors, according to an internal TikTok memo reviewed by NPR and two sources familiar with the deal who were not authorized to speak publicly. So for me, this leads me to say, okay, cool. Glad that a deal got done and that we all get to just keep TikTok, hip hop, hooray. But truly, no, really, what was fucking accomplished by this deal? Okay, now it's in American hands, but also it's still in Chinese hands, which, hey, I have no problem with that. I'm becoming a bit of a China enjoyer, even more so than ever, maybe. Like I said, I might want to take a visit now. It's on my fantasy list. So don't come for me on that. But wasn't the whole point of this is that we needed to stop that? It was a security issue, and it was a whole reason for the fucking season. It's no, it seems like you really just wanted this fucking algorithm, and that's it at this point. But I also think maybe it was just we're kind of just in the fucking quagmire of the situation. We talked the big game about wanting to ban this shit, and then everyone kind of realized what was, to lose here. And a guy like Larry Ellison is like, hey, Trump, hey, bud, I know you initially said way back when, because this shit does go back 5 years. We kind of came in towards the middle end of it. He's like, hey, Trump, baby, I'm in TikTok now. So let's about face on that shit. And he did, but then he got dragged back into it, just like Biden was dragged into it. And they all needed an exit ramp, I think. And I guess this deal is it. And everyone kind of gets what they want. It does seem like an overall win for all parties. But once again, I think the whiny ass Congress people are all kind of thinking, whether they're saying it out loud or not, they're like, that's not what we wanted. We wanted it to be completely cut. So I imagine the China hawks are mad. They're big mad. But maybe there's a good amount of people who are just like, look, we can kind of just wash our hands of this shit and move along. TikTok is settled. Let me read a little bit more here before I in my closing thoughts on this matter. Under the terms of the sale, half of the new entity will control the American version of TikTok. I'm sure I read this wrong, but will be owned by a consortium of investors. Ooh, sounds spooky. Including Oracle, private equity firm Silver Lake, and United Arab Emirates state-backed investment firm MGX. Those firms, those three will control 45% of the new U.S. TikTok entity. Once again, I gotta take another fucking pause because this MGX group, once again, I thought this was supposed to be in quote-unquote American hands, but like, it seems like now we have another pair of hands, which I am okay. I know America is a melting pot. I support that, but it just seems like, I don't know, antithetical against what you guys wanted at the beginning of this fucking conversation in which you said, we gotta ban TikTok because blah. It's so weird. It's just, we really just said, hey, let's just piss in the wind for a few years and waste everyone's fucking time. And maybe we'll make some money along the way. God damn, that's so American now that I think about it. Now that I say it out loud, I shouldn't be surprised. Let's see, about a third of the newly formed TikTok operation will be held by existing investors of ByteDance, the Chinese parent company of the video app, and around 20% will be kept by ByteDance. I'm also curious if and this is, once again, I'm putting my speculation hat back on. This has got to change how TikTok is going to feel, right? Like, they're going to do something to it. And I'm sure they're going to say, no. No, we finally got to see this algorithm. It's beautiful. Oh, and now it's so American. I just don't know. I'm very curious because, don't get me wrong, I know I've said before, maybe this deal, if it does fully go all the way, is actually still the death of TikTok. Because people are going to be like, ew, this is gross now. It's stale. It's whack, yucky, or they try to like over censor. I mean, because another angle too that people did mention was the whole idea of like, hey, Congress people also got upset when then people were saying like, hey, Israel is a genocidal state, and they're posting it on their feed, and like people are like, oh, don't do that, even though you can now do that, and you can see those kind of things on all of these social media feeds. But anyway, like, I think at a time there was like, hey, we want to clamp down on that. Now, they didn't want to say that out loud, but I do think that was something that was a real thought, a real theory that they could control. Are they going to still try to do that shit? I don't know. But either way, are people still going to rock with TikTok? And I do think yes, at the end of the day. And my perfect prime example for this is X, the everything app. So many people talked a huge game about, oh, I'm getting off the app. I'm taking an exodus from X. And some people did. Some people really did flee to Blue Sky, and they still talk about that. And I mean, cool, them and the crickets. But like, at the end of the day, they're still freaks. They're still fucking just monsters like me who are on X, the everything app, and they still do get on there, every once in a while, maybe once or whatever. Hey, I gotta post content, all right, whatever. No, but the freaks are still showing up. The bots are there. All the verified people, they gotta make their bones. So, yeah, man, I mean, I wouldn't say like TikTok or X is more active or anything like that, but it's still there. It's not dead. I mean, time will tell, maybe, the clock's not up yet. But I think that something like a TikTok is still going to be there. Just like people saying like Facebook is a dead app. No one goes on there. It's just my grandpa, my grandma. But once again, hi, I'm still there. Millennial boomer. But that app is still moving. Like it's still a usable app. It's just, gross and not fun and lame. But whatever. By all means, please go outside. This is not me doing an advocation for any of these apps to be on them. They are for the fucking the basement dwellers, the freakazoids. Don't waste your time. Live a real life. Touching grass is much better. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to pull from this? No, not really. So yeah, TikTok it's alive and well, ? Time will tell. Anyway, we gotta move on. Let's see, from ABC News. I need to take another water break. I am parched. Parched as a Dickens. All right. ABC News, yes. Trump touts Patriot Games as part of the country's 250th celebration. President Donald Trump on Thursday outlined festivities the White House is planning for next year to commemorate the nation's 250th birthday, making good on his pledge to give America the most spectacular birthday party the world has ever seen. Dude, I thought we were done with this after the whole gay old parade that no one fucking showed up for or wanted. Like, nah, bro. He's like, I've only begun to cook. Oh my god, dude. This rollout is so dumb, but we're gonna just kind of graze past it. Trump, who repeatedly said on the 2024 campaign trail that he would roll out a grand celebration comparable to past world fairs. Man, we're gonna get a world fair. Yay! Officially unveiled the list of events called Freedom 250. Dude, fucking yeah, man. F250. Put it on a t-shirt. Yee, brother. Several activities will be planned for June 25th to July 10th, according to the White House, including a Spirit of America parade to honor fallen soldiers, a birthday fireworks celebration on the National Mall, promised to be the largest such display in the world, and a Great American State Fair, featuring pavilions from all 50 states. Man, this sounds so beautiful, guys. Wow, dude. Oh, anyway, frankly, you'll never see anything like it, and you'll never see anything like it again, Trump declared in his announcement video. The president, who often frequents different sporting events, also solidified plans to spearhead a Patriot Games event, which called for a 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes, one young man and one young woman, competing from each state and territory. Now, people are saying this is giving Hunger Games, and the vibe is definitely Hunger Games. I don't know if that was intended. I think he really wanted to get this digging that we're about to read. But I promise there will be no men playing in women's sports. You're not going to see that, Trump said, as he continued to oppose transgender athletes. Cool, bro. There's gonna be boys and girls. Awesome, and you're gonna check their pants. I guess. Awesome. Thank you. Common sense back in the White House, everyone. It's still getting worked on. You got that ballroom, but don't pardon our dust. Patriot Games, dude. I wish this was just like the movie. Like, okay, we still got Harrison Ford. We can run that shit back. You know, Rush Hour 4, Patriot Games. Woo. Yeah. Speaking of Chris Tucker, but no. This is some lame shit. But wait, there is more. And this is like the one thing that like a younger me, I think, might have appreciated. The avid Ultimate Fighting Championship fan also continued to tease the administration's plan to host a UFC fight on the South Lawn of the White House on Flag Day on June 14th. Also, Trump's 80th birthday. UFC CEO Dana White, a staunch supporter of the president, is going to put on the event. Trump previously announced, marking the first time in history the White House has hosted a sporting match. So, like, that's kind of interesting. That's the kind of, like, you know, American whatever the fuck that I am kind of here for. I'm not going to lie to you. But, it's just, okay. Like, is this what a great America looks like? Just dudes punching the shit out of each other on the White House lawn. When I say it out loud, you know it rips. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm back on being way too wrestle coded, way too fight coded. But like, look, dude, we're getting bread in circuses because we're broke and we're poor. And apparently affordability and the Epstein files are a scam. Okay? And like, what can I tell you, dude? It's all a nothing burger, but at least the boy, girl Patriot Games are going to happen. And we're going to see who's the best. I'm rooting for Ohio. OH. IO. This was a joke. Is there anything else I really? Oh, we gotta talk infrastructure. You know, of like, you know, these buildings and shit. I didn't know this until I read. Also, along with the festivities, Trump continues to highlight new construction projects he is tackling in and around the nation's capital. Trump said construction on his latest project, a triumphal arch, that's set to be built near the entrance to Arlington National Cemetery will begin in the very near future. They talk a little bit more about that. I really don't give a shit, but I guess we'll see how that fucking looks. I get the feeling it's gonna look tacky and garish as fuck, just like that ballroom is probably gonna. Also, some Trump mentions that I didn't get to throughout the week. He wants to rename the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center. He was supposed to smack his name on there, like, Pog, I was here. And it's like, dude, you're so fucking corny. Like, we're gonna remember you, dude. We can't forget you. He also did a thing with the former presidents where, like, you know, he put up this whole, like, you know, porch. He put up all their portraits or whatever, or maybe they were already up, I don't know. And then, like, added these, like, quotations like Sleepy Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama, the most divisive president, like shit like that. Like, divisive to who? Benjamin Netanyahu? Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, man. Yeah, divisive if you lived in Yemen. He was very divisive. Anyway, let me fucking stop. We have one more thing that I wanted to cover, and this is bonus time. We're in the garbage realm. But I had to give, we're on our Happy Trails double feature. You know, we had yesterday, we had Dan Bongingo, you know, Bongiorno. Sorry, that's, let me stop. Bongino is Bongino, yes, yeah, points. Anyway, Elise Stefanik, it looks like, is on the outs. So, can we get a Happy Trails to you until we meet again? I mean, even though she really didn't actually make it to the administration, I have to put that asterisk there, but she was gunning for it. This was like the girl boss equivalent of JD Vance, only she just never got to make it. So yeah, and we're going to bid her a nice adieu. So let's do our last break and we'll close it out there. From CNN, Elise Stefanik ends her short-lived bid for New York governor and won't seek re-election to House. Bam, bam. Just like that. Republican Representative Elise Stefanik announced Friday that she was ending her short-lived bid for governor of New York and would not run for another term in Congress. While spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I have made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor and will not seek re-election to Congress, Stefanik wrote in a post on social media. I did not come to this decision lightly for our family. Oh, the girl boss has decided to just go back and just get back to tradition. Oh, bless her. The announcement came less than 2 months after Stefanik launched a campaign seeking to challenge Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul in 2026, making what would have been a long shot race in a heavily Democratic state. Stefanik recently drew a primary competitor in Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, whom she invoked in her statement. And I love this. This is like sore loser fucking shit. While we would have overwhelmingly won this primary, it is not an effective use of our time or your generous resources to spend the first half of next year in an unnecessary and protracted Republican primary, especially in a challenging state like New York, Stefanik wrote. AKA, she's like, look, dude, if I actually did this and flexed, I'd win. She's Gojo. Nah, I'd win. No, dude, I don't think you would have. I think when you look at the tail of the tape, she has gotten shuffled around and down this entire time since she's hitched her wagon to Trump. And now she was finally in a situation where she's like, okay, I'm talking that good shit. Maybe I can make a win in New York. It's a long shot, but I'll try. She literally got shaded while fucking Mamdani and Trump are having a fucking meet cute, right? Like, she had pushed this whole, like, yeah, he's like a jihadist. And like, Trump's like, I think she's speaking out of turn. But I get it. She wants to win. And it's like, ooh, you don't want to hear that. And now you have a actual challenger who not only is a challenger, he's a challenger who also has the Trump bump just like you do, in quotes. So, like, what's a gal to do? And I would think she would want to stay in the house, but maybe she's just seeing the writing on the wall. Like she was supposed to be getting a like fucking cabinet seat, and she didn't get that. She got iced out on that. You know what I mean? She didn't get, I think, what was it? Do an ambassador thing that was like next up for her. Door closed. You know. Then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run for governor in New York." It's like, dude, good luck. And now she's just, nah, I'm out. So once again, happy trails, motherfucker. I did not like this person at all. They are constantly divisive. Just coming up and it's just the type of, you know, lawmaker, politician, whatever, who's just going to say the most outrageous fucking things to get the fucking clicks, to get the fucking attention. And they only went more so as they, like, once again, hitch their wagon to Donald Trump. So I'm glad that they got a fitting in here. I don't know. I truly do feel like this is the fate of most people who tie themselves to this empire like this, you know, this administration, like Donald Trump, the whole MAGA wave. Like, you're just in the fucking Shark Tank at all times. Like, I was thinking about this as I was like reading this, and it's like you have the Marjorie Taylor Greene, you have the Elise Stefanik, and in both of those scenarios, you still go down like a clown. You know what I mean? Whether you're constantly trying to actually like buck to find your way, or you're compliant and you go where you're told to go, and you realize that you're out of the building. You know, I don't know, man. What are you to do? And I mean, not to say that it's so much better on, you know, the fucking Democrat side. It's not. They still don't even know what kind of face to fucking make, you know, for the next fucking primary, for the next fucking election. That politics are very fucking weak shit right now, dude. Excusez-moi. So, I don't know, man. I thought this was a nice, fun article to close out on. Obviously, you know, we're doing this Isaiah's house style and just zooming along. But essentially, though, she did get the, you know, oh, we wish her well, you know, oh, she's going to do great wherever she goes. Also, apparently, what was it? Caroline Leavitt was her communications director or some shit, I believe. Yeah. White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt also gave kudos to her former boss, whom she worked for as a communications director. I guess we'll read her quote. Elise Stefanik has been an incredible advocate for the people of her district in upstate New York, and she will always be a true friend to the President Trump. On a personal note, Elise is my former boss. She is a great leader and an even better person. We love you, Elise Stefanik, Leavitt posted. Also, she's been getting roasted lately on the internet because of, I believe it was a Vanity Fair photo. It's like a zoom in on her face. And, you know, this is a, you know, woman, and this is not me judging. This is just me, you know, reading the room here. 28 years old. And, you know, it is a very, how do you say, candid photo, right? And people are getting into it like, look at those lip injections. Look at the face. Da, da, da. This is someone at 28 years old, mind you. And, like, that has become a whole fucking discourse. And I mean, yeah, who am I to say? But yeah, it is another situation where, you know, they're reading them in filth. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I don't know. That's the hot gossip. That's what's going on. That's all I have for today. That's going to be the episode. So if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Yeah, that's right. TikTok forever. No. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Would you kindly? But if not, that's okay. That's okay. I really just appreciate you, you know, just hanging out, you know, just shooting the shit, talking about, you know, good old US of A. No, that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.